Hard no. What's going on, everybody? Jeremy here from Satera Tuning. I know we said last week it was going to be our last live. This is a little different. It's not one of our vlog episodes, so obviously we're going to make a little exception. Now, for those that saw, we purchased a new shop vehicle, right? And I was actually going to be making a YouTube video reviewing the RHO compared to the TRX, but made a couple videos of it, saw a lot of very strange and weird comments out there about it. So I figured, you know what better way than to go live, and we'll kind of, the concept here is we're going to review this truck, right? We had a twin turbo TRX. Why did we get rid of it? Well, it's in the name of R&D, right? We have to embrace new platforms. This is actually the second vehicle that we've owned that had the Hurricane in it. So for those that don't know, this comes with an inline 6-cylinder twin turbo setup. So we originally had a Grand Wagoneer that we got in an attempt to do some research on the Hurricane then. It was way too early on, because it wasn't a performance vehicle, the platforms, weren't really too keen on it, right? So it was one of those, we got rid of it and carried on with the development of other platforms. So, I'm going to give it a couple minutes for people to jump on. I know there were a lot of people that were interested in this. So, and this is really hard to hold this camera with the cast on your hand. I'll tell you that much. Didn't realize it was going to be that difficult. So, we'll wait for views to kick in, and we'll go over kind of what it is. So, obviously, when I order a vehicle, for those that don't know, it usually comes black. Part of the reason is it's much easier to wrap them when they're black. It hides the creases and lines a little better when it comes over it. We'll get into it. I see people starting to jump in. So here she is. It's just a level 1 RHO. All right. So, essentially we'll start on the outside and then kind of work our way on the inside and go over. First, I'm going to cover the differences between the RHO and the TRX. Okay. So out of the gate, for the most part, it's almost the same truck. I mean, when you look at it, unless you have them physically next to each other, it's very difficult to really kind of see the differences on them, right? You can get up in the grill. It does actually come down a little bit more right here. Comes down a little bit deeper. It has the open ram there. I've got to flip this. Tulo's not here, so I got to flip it now. There we go. That makes it a little bit easier for us. So, yeah, ran there. Nice airflow. They're saying more airflow is allowed to go in. The headlights are a little elongated compared to the other ones and a little squished more, I would say. But really, from the side, you really can't tell a difference. I mean, you can come down and it looks... It's cold out, so doors closed, but it's pretty much a TRX. The taillights are different. These are all red with the turn signal being in there and the white. To the TRXs have a little bit more clear in it, kind of more of a Euro look to it, right? But bumper's the same, exhaust very much the same, wheels are the same, suspension the same. They tuned it differently, obviously, because of the changes to the truck. And then, yeah, I mean, that's exterior wise, they're very, very close. Very hard to tell the differences, and it's mainly in the front end. Now, this is where the biggest change has happened. All right. All right. For those that haven't seen it, this is your Hurricane. So this one here, it's 3 liters of displacement, inline 6, twin turbo. So you can see our baby turbos over there. All right. 2 of them, one down low. One up top right there. And as you see, we have it apart. We're already starting development of some goodies for it. Difference between the Grand Wagoneer and the RHO is the fact that it comes with a open box, basically element filter. So high flowing compared to the other boxed ones. It does mate up to the hood, right? So it does suck in clean air. I'll just be honest, the reason we don't have the pipe in place is it's a muffler. It's essentially what it is. It dampens the turbo sounds, and who doesn't want a turbo truck and hear the turbo sounds? So we are developing a replacement for that. So that's what Joe's working on. He told me I can't show his face, but I have him hard at work. Now, So what are the differences, right? Obviously, there's not a big V8 with a supercharger on it. So this turbo setup, this motor, makes 540 horsepower, which we dynoed it, and it made 466 to the wheels, and it made 460 foot-pounds of torque. So 460, 460 to the wheels on our dyno. The motor itself, I would say, from what I can kind of figure out from everything I've seen, with the changes they've made, this truck weighs roughly 250 pounds less than a TRX. Okay, so right out of the gate, it has the advantage with that. Now, it's making, compared to what we see on the dyno, about 100, 150 horsepower less, naturally, in regards to the output. Now, one of the differences they added to the RHO is it has a 392 rear end compared to the 355 of the TRX. So naturally, even though it makes less horsepower, it actually pulls really well. So, and guys, for those that don't know and the ones that are just checking in, I have owned 3 TRXs. I had a 22 that had our single turbo compound boost setup on it. I had a 23, my first one. Didn't have that one too long, but that had our level 1 on it for pump gas. And then the most recent one that we just sold was a Helion twin turbo gutted blower car. So why? Why would I get rid of all of that horsepower? Well, this is the reason, guys. Like I said, it's all in the name of R&D. This is the new engine that's coming out. Now, we are all excited about the V8's coming back with Tim getting back into RAM and so on and so forth. But the fact is, this motor is not going to go anywhere. And then the assessment of the lineup that currently has it, this is probably the best platform for the performance side of it. So I get it. It's not going to be the fastest thing we post. It's not going to make the most horsepower for the time being. But what it is the current available and future platform for our Mopars, right? As we know, this motor here is going to go into the Charger when it comes out with the ICE engine. So the more we get into it now, the better we're going to be prepared when the Charger comes out. So they have 2 versions of this motor. This is the high output, so this is the big horsepower one, and then they have the standard output. They say 96% of those motors are the same. Big difference is the pistons. So the high output, like we have in this truck, has 9.5 compression, to where the standard output has 10.4 compression. So they do that because on the standard output, they have a little bit smaller turbos and they run less boost. So it kind of compensates for it there. The pistons in the high output are forged aluminum pistons, where they are cast in the standard output. They share the same crank, share the same rods. It's mainly the pistons, the turbos, oiling, fuel system, obviously to handle the extra load of the big motor. So this is obviously the biggest difference in the TRX. And right now, you know, in the Ram lineup, in the Grand Wagoneer lineup, these motors are coming out. This is what you have the options for. So again, it's embracing what we have coming out in the future. So, and having all the TRXs we did and that we've done, it's great for us to compare, right? So we can go on and dive in on the inside now, because this is where more of the changes have been made. All right, so right out of the gate, I'm just going to hit it because it's on the door right there. Massage seats, right? So yeah, you got to highlight that. It's awesome. So my theory on this is it's basically a Wagoneer. It's just a pickup truck Wagoneer, okay? So the seats are a lot more comfortable than in the TRXs that it had. The radio got a lot bigger, right? And then you can see on the other side there, as I stretch over, there's a second monitor on that side too, just like the Wagoneers, right? So your passenger can do your navigation, can select all your stuff. Android Auto, it has the digital dash that's fully customizable, right? You can get all the goodies on there. So this is just like the 23 TRX. This is also, like I said, like the Wagoneers. So it's much nicer, right, in regards to the inside of it. So like I said, this is a level 1. So it has all of the fancy, you know, the mirror there with that. Same space in the back. The radio, you know, customizable. Now this is something that I find interesting. When you go through your screens here, you know, it has all the standard stuff. You know, it tells you your oil level, your battery, tire pressure, the whole shebang, right? what's so interesting is there's no boost gauge. You have turbos and there's no boost gauge on the dash. You have AFR, horsepower, torque, all of that, but no boost. Weirdest thing. Now, you can get it over on the radio. So there is boost pressure there. You can go to the vehicle dynamics. We'll go to the dashboard. And we'll go to our performance pages. So you can get it here as well. Boost pressure right there. But for some reason, you can't get it on the main dash. Maybe there'll be an update. Don't know why. TRXs have it on the dash. It's just kind of, it was interesting to me that, you know, they advertise when you come over here. Hard to see. 540 horsepower. Twin Garrett turbos. GT 2054s. 28 PSI. I've actually seen 30 PSI once or twice doing 0 to 60s, all right? So, you know, just interesting that they wouldn't have that there, right? So, get over to the timers here. I've been playing around, as you guys have seen, so we are under 5 seconds. I know we posted the very first one that I did with the Draggy was a 5.0. People are making fun because I said it was spinning the tire. So guys, understand that even if it's for 5 feet and the tire's spinning, you're spinning your tire. Torque management kicks in. I had traction control disabled, but you can feel the turbo boost was bled off because it was spinning still. So these are things that we're learning about the platform. And we're gonna go over the details on the performance and stuff like that, right? We're gonna cover fuel economy. We're gonna cover how it drives, okay? So I'm gonna dive right into that now. We pretty much covered all of the difference. Oh, one thing I do want to go over that kind of stinks about it. Because it's not a big V8 anymore, it has the auto start stop. So you got to make sure to turn that off when you get in if you don't want it starting at the red light, stopping at the red lights for you. So one of the gripes of it, what are you gonna do, right? So I posted a video. And I posted our Draggy of doing a 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. What I need to disclose and break down for everybody, that was literally the first time trying it. It was under 35 degrees where we're at. We just had snow not too long ago, salt all over the roads. Tire pressure was 38.9, 39 PSI, right? Guys, this isn't the type of thing where I'm going to take the spare tire off, take the back seats out, air down the tires. I'm trying to give you guys some realistic numbers, right? This is, if you pull up at a red light in full street trim and somebody's next to you and you got to get to that next red light quicker, that's what you can expect. I did have a couple launches in this thing with the conditions I have where all 4 tires are spinning, it got a little sideways. I am not kidding. The torque and the gearing, it's not hard to do on these big motors, okay? So, all these people are ripping and, oh, they've seen on the internet, they see on the internet, right? You got to understand what goes into that. Yes, thank you. My girls are fixing my hand as we speak. Best doctors ever. But you got to understand, when you see these YouTube videos, when you see that, there's editing, right? That's why this stuff is really nice, okay? It's live, unedited. You get straight as it is. The 5.0 0 to 60 literally was first time ever trying it. Super cold, fully aired up tires. It's not how it always works out when you see those best times, right? I know just by the TRXs I've owned and the platforms I've worked on that this truck is fully capable of a mid 4 second pass without any prep work in regards to strip and weight or anything like that. It's just going to rely on the conditions, okay? I could air down the tires, but because it's 30 degrees outside, it's just going to spin them, okay? Any type of power on the leave, it's going to spin them, okay? So, and the other thing about it is this truck is not advertised like a TRX where it's designed for massive, massive power and speed, right? We got to assess what happened here and kind of break it down. So Dodge went out and I'm actually going to start with Ford. Ford is the ones that came out with the 6-cylinder turbos, the EcoBoost, long time ago in their trucks. At first they were hated, but then people started realizing that the potential, right? So, I mean, those EcoBoosts can make some good steam. Those Raptors were outstanding, you know, in regards to what they were. So this is a direct competitor to the Raptor. This is not the direct competitor to the Raptor R. That is still the big brother TRX. And there's, 4 years of production of that, 21 through 24, where you can go out and buy them still and compete with the Raptor R, okay? The fact is, this is a 6,500 pound truck that just did a 5 second 0 to 60 with no prep work. Okay, you can go look at the times in that. I mean, that means you're keeping up with cars. And that was hilarious about our draggy video is we have people pulling out their little SUVs and their cars, their Mustang GTs, and comparing them, saying, oh, my Mustang can do that. I really hope your Mustang can do a 5 second 0 to 60, right? The truth is, this is a blend for a street truck, right? And obviously a Baja truck for off-roading. It technically can tow more than what the TRX could do based on the setup, right? So it's not, this isn't the holy grail in regards to the big horsepower. It's kind of like, you know, it's the 392 replacement version, right? The standard output is the 5.7 replacement. The high output is the 392 replacement. And the TRXs, they just never came out with the 392. They just went straight to the V8s just the way they are, right? So they're doing it kind of backwards compared to how Ford did it, where Ford started with their turbo setups and then they came out with the Raptor R. Dodge Ram did it the opposite way. They had the big V8, prove themselves, and now they're finding a better street truck. I tell you, this one, you know, this truck is over 40 grand less than what a TRX equipped kind of the same way is, right? And a TRX doesn't have massage seats or a screen on the passenger side and, you know, the refinement to the bigger screen. So, you know, you're getting a lot more for your money. So it does put it into a price range that's more appealing to a lot of people. Now, guys like me are going to try and figure out how we can compete with our V8 big brothers, right? And for anybody that knows anything about performance and inline six cylinders, they can be beaten on. I mean, for those that knew about our Audi, right? It was we had an RS3. It's a 5-cylinder, 2.5 liter, and it made over 950 wheel in my possession. The new owner has made over 1,000 wheel out of a 2.5 liter 5-cylinder, okay? The geometry is so much better in regards to a V setup engine, okay? Yeah, and yeah, you're right. The Raptor started off, it was actually an NA V8. It wasn't supercharged. It was a 6.2 liter for the first Raptors, and then they came out with the twin turbo EcoBoost Raptors with the 3.5 liter. So they went from a V8 NA down to a turbo 6-cylinder, which has outperformed. Now, you can talk all you want. This is the truth, and it's going to upset some people, but it is reality. When I show you a dyno sheet or a quarter mile time, you don't know what engine's in it. You don't. Right? I can pop up dyno sheets all the time. You can't tell me what's in it. At the end of the day, this motor makes power. It makes tremendous amount more power than a 392, obviously the 5.7s too, right? So I get it doesn't sound as good. In agreement there, kind of hard to beat proper V8 rumble, but from a performance standpoint, this performs. I mean, 460 wheel horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque. No 392 is doing that. I see guys out there trying to compare their diesels and stuff like that. I think it's funny. Yeah, cool. You know, these non-apple to apple comparisons, right? It's so interesting how people want to get defensive and compare their car to, you know, this massive Baja off-road design pickup truck that's doing 5 seconds 0 to 60s. And like I said, for those that are jumping in late, yeah, we have sub 5 seconds 0 to 60s. I didn't want to post the 4.6 one because it was on a 1.2 degree incline or, you know, decline. So no reason to do it, guys. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is that this is a mid 4-second pickup truck with 35-inch tires on it. So I have my radials actually sitting up above that shelf right there. So, you know, it's one of those, get those on, especially with the gearing in this thing. You know, the amount of weight that those save, it's over 100 pounds per wheel. You know, the fact is, bone stock on a drag radial, I'm probably going to get this thing into the threes, right? So, yeah, we can drop the spare tire out the back. I can take the back seats. I can put radials on it. But again, we're trying to do more real-world comparisons. We will wait for the tracks to open to get down to that drag racer mode. This is a street truck. It's an off-road truck. It's not designed to go from 60 to 130 as fast as possible. Obviously, to improve performance, we're going to do that. But the reality is this outperforms a 392, 2500 all day, any day, right? So comparison now, I see, you know, how does it compare to a 392 Wrangler? How does it compare to a TRX drivability wise? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I have those here. There you go. 8th mile. 8.4 has been the best at a 13.5. So that's kind of where we're at, and it's all because I can't get traction on the 60 foot. Like I said, it's when I did the 4.6, I didn't do a full quarter mile. I was just trying to do 60 foots at the time. So I think with it, if I can duplicate that 4.6 60 foot, I bet you it would be it would probably dip into the 12s, absolutely. So I do think I can pull 12 seconds out of this truck with proper prep, okay? I don't have it. I have salt. Right now it's raining, funny enough. So maybe in the next couple days when it dries up, if we have, you know, the same 40-degree weather, I can get a better one in it. But I can easily spin all 4 tires. All right, so we're going to get into the comparisons, right? So first off, a TRX versus an RHO. We're going to talk stock, right? And I'm not saying it just because I own it. I'm not saying it to try to make business. Because I don't sell RHOs. I can't modify them really for the most part yet. I can't tune them. So it's more for anybody thinking or interested in this, right? Obviously, horsepower in a V8 is fun, you know, but the fact is I like how this truck drives way better than the TRXs I've had, all 3 of them. Why? Well, it's the same effect we had in our Grand Wagoneers. We had the first 392 Grand Wagoneer, and then we traded that in for the Hurricane because I was excited to get my hands on one. The Hurricane version drove light years better. Light years. Now, you suck out a lot of weight. I mean, like I said, over 250 pounds lighter just naturally by the drivetrain changes. So we have an aluminum block, 3-liter, 6-cylinder, inline 6-cylinder, and an HP 75. Instead of the iron block 6.2-liter supercharger and an HP 95, right? So it's lighter. On top of it, the gearing, right? It's a 392 versus a 355 gear. Honestly, 0 to 60, you know, from a stock TRX standpoint, very little difference in regards to getting to that 0 to 60. I will say, beyond that 60, you do start to notice. Now, a part of that is cat over time protection. I do know that. So it's something that, you know, tuning wise, we will be able to improve it as we get the ability, but right now we can't, right? So that's one of those things of, yeah, it's, you know, doing 0 to 60 pulls. I'll tell you, man, you get a TRX next to me at the same time, it's going to be whoever can get traction first. It is very quick for what it is. But beyond that, that TRX is going to pull light years. It gets boring. So that's what I'm in the business to do, is change that. So we will. Handling wise, braking, you can notice the difference. It handles and drives significantly better in my opinion. It's just more nimble. It's all around just a better driving vehicle. Weight will do that. The other thing about it too is quiet. I was so blown away of how quiet it is. Now, anybody with a TRX or, you know, a Trail Boss or a Raptor, you know, you get on the highway, those tires are screaming. You get to 75, 80, 85 miles an hour. Absolutely screaming. I was taking my daughter to her doctor appointment on the highway, and we were having a conversation just like this, and you barely heard the tires. I was blown away that same tires, same wheels, for the most part, same chassis, and it was quiet. This truck is quiet. It really is. Now, I know they're probably trying to hide the fact of it doesn't have the rumble to it, but it just very quiet. So overall, it feels better, drives better. I got a massage going while I'm talking to you guys right now. I mean, from a daily driver standpoint, it's got all the check boxes, right? So then we'll dive into fuel economy. Now, again, I recorded a bunch of videos while I was actually taking my daughter to and from her doctor appointment because it was a good 70-mile road trip. It was actually right before we threw it on the dyno. What am I seeing for fuel economy? Well, I'm beating the snot out of this thing. I feel so bad for on a daily basis, and my dash is showing right there. On a 109-mile road trip, or, you know, total 109 miles to and from work and all the testing and everything, I'm sitting at 10.2. Obviously, a lot of wide open throttle pulls is going to drop that number down. This is what I saw when I was driving on the highway. Depending the speed, anybody that knows with these pickup trucks, it does vary quite a bit. I got anywhere from 14 to 19 miles to the gallon based on the dashboard, okay? So, it obviously cruising at 65, 70 miles an hour, I was seeing upwards of 19 miles per gallon consistently, right? Who does that, right? So then I took it up to 80, you know, staying within the speed limits, and that's when it dropped down to, I'd say really it was more around 15 miles to the gallon. 15, 16 is what I was getting on the highway, and that was cruising at minimum 80 miles an hour. And then city, I'm getting anywhere between 10 and 14, I would say. Obviously, a little bit of abuse, it's going to drop down to that. So I have not been kind to this truck in any way. You guys should have smelled the brakes when I came back after some testing. I mean, I am beating the snot out of it and still getting 10 miles to the gallon on this thing, okay? So, yeah, and Jeff, you're right. I know just from the data logs I have on this thing, there are massive improvements to come for fuel economy and power. So, again, reviewing, comparing to a TRX, it's lighter, it handles better, I notice braking, fuel economy is not leaps and bounds better, but it all depends on how you drive it, but I am seeing an improvement from it. You know, and it really, I'm impressed. And my daughters love my dinosaur trucks, right? Daddy dinosaur trucks, they love going for rides. It's just fun for them. Aubrey, she just, you know, doesn't like the loudness compared to Evelyn, but she told me she loves this truck better than the other ones. Now, I don't know how to break it to her that it's not a dinosaur anymore. It's a Rhino, but we'll run with it. So approval rating from myself, this is a beautiful daily driver. Anybody that's talked to me for any length of time knows I say the TRX is one of the best daily drivers, just from functionality, comfort, ability, the ride. You know, you put in auto mode with Baja suspension. It just, you know, it's comfortable. It was more comfortable than our Grand Wagoneers. So this one just kind of took it to a different level, and you know, I get it. It's an inline 6-cylinder, guys. It's not a V8. I understand, but the fact is we have to kind of mold with the times, right? And at the end of the day, like I said, it doesn't matter what the dyno, you know, the dyno sheet is the performance on it, right? It really, you can't really hate on it. The fact is you can run mid 4-second 0 to 60s in a bone stock truck, get a little better fuel economy, pull better. And, you know, it's one of those where it's kind of got me set. You know, the original plan is like, oh, I'm just going to get rid of this thing after a few months of testing and move on to the next. But it is a perfect daily driver. It just encompasses everything. Taking off from red lights, you don't notice, right? You know, I know there's guys out there that watt it every time they take off from a light, but reality is, you don't know this difference. I bet you I could blindfold somebody with TRXs and RHOs outside, and when I get in and start driving, other than the appearance, you're not really going to be able to tell the difference on a normal driving, other than it's more comfortable, it's quieter, it handles better, and that's from a driver standpoint, right? So, yeah, so it, you know, it's crazy. We're excited. You know, we are very, very excited to see what comes. These motors, anybody that knows, you know, we'll go back to the 2JZ, right? I think that the RB26 and the 2JZ are probably the most popular inline 6s, right? BMW does it now in all of theirs. Well, a lot of theirs, not all of them, but the inline setup, guys, it's killer. And the fact that we can make the power and torque out of a, you know, 3-liter displacement, right? We'll see what we can board over to. Is there room for a stroke increase? Well, who knows? You know, you got over 4 liters out of Supers back in the day, but the reality is it hits all the check boxes of a daily driver, right? Comfortable for a massive truck like. So yeah, I love it. I do. I think like I said, this is my 4th truck in regards to the Baja off-road series. I've had 3 TRXs, and then this one, from a daily driver standpoint, has taken the reins, guys. And obviously, if I'm going to the drag strip and all I care about is horsepower and trying to set a record, start with the V8 platform, it's got the transmission in place, yeah, absolutely, go for it. But from a true daily driver standpoint, save the money, get modern technology across the board, and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And then just be patient with us, because this isn't where it stops, right? It has turbos on it, so you just turn the boost up a little bit, right? I'm exploring E85 with it, as you guys know I would. So it's one of those where the fact this is what the starting point is very promising. I'll tell you, it's going to be much easier as well for you V8 guys, diehard V8 guys. Out of the SOs and the HOs, the standard output and the high output, compared to a 5.7 392, you know, a tune only on this is going to net over 100 wheel horsepower. I'm going to tell you, tune only. Find me a 5.7 or 392 that will do that. Again, it's kind of hard to argue with it, okay? I understand ultimate horsepower is going to be the TRX. It wins hands down. I will say that, you know, beyond that 60 point, it's very, very different, right? Obviously, modifying it, the 0 to 60 will be different. But same thing. I know we're going to get into the threes very quick with this truck as soon as we get some additional boost into her. So we do have a JB4 piggyback system on the way. For those that don't know, it's a system you plug into the truck. I won't disclose how exactly, but you plug it in, and it increases the boosties. So we have seen from research well over 100 horsepower and 124 foot-pounds of torque increase. So literally what that means is, this isn't a custom tune. Timing's untouched. This is literally just boost control, okay? So keep that in mind. But essentially, just by being able to adjust the boost controller, we are going to make 560, 570 wheel horsepower and 580, 590 foot-pounds of torque, okay? Stock TRXs on my dyno average 550 to 600 wheel horsepower and 500 to 550 foot-pounds of torque. So that means tune only, this high output RHO is going to make stock TRX power and beyond. And it weighs 250 pounds plus less, and it has a 390 gear. So you guys can see where I'm going with this, right? So the platform, that's just a tune. Now I throw some corn at it. Maybe we throw a different turbo on it, one big one, two bigger ones, who knows. Work on the exhaust on it, into induction system. The intake right now, I'll be honest, guys, going to an aftermarket one is purely for sound. We're going to test ours once we finish it. I don't see a horsepower increase. I just see a sound improvement. Nothing wrong with that. Let's hear that turbos. So I don't anticipate it, you know, really increasing. It's a very, very well thought out design. I am going to throw an IC chiller on this bad boy, right? I have one upstairs for my TRX. I'm going to see if it fits. So why not? Because if you didn't know, the intercooler on this setup is air to water. It's actually built right on top of the intake manifold. So it uses water just like a TRX. So we can use an IC chiller. So definitely some benefits on this platform. And again, I will never say it's going to outperform a TRX in regards to overall horsepower. But again, repeating, from a daily driver standpoint, this truck has taken the cake, guys. It really, I would take this over my Grand Wagoneer any day. To me, it's more functional, drives better. You know, it's just all around, I've been very, very impressed. So somebody asked, in comparison to a 392 Wrangler, again, this makes, based on their rating, 65 horsepower more, than a Wrangler, right? So naturally the Wrangler is a little bit lighter, but the reality is this thing makes a massive jump in power. You know, this is way more comfortable. It has a lot more amenities than the Wrangler. So in a quarter-mile pass, I think it's going to be pretty dead even from a standpoint in stock versus stock form. But again, let me get my tune in it and add another 100 horsepower, and then we'll talk, right? And you're making stock TRX power, but way less and have better gearing. Yeah, I think it's got the potential for sure. So obviously, I'm not comparing this truck to a diesel. I'm not comparing this truck to your Mustang. This is a multi-purpose pickup truck, guys. And understand, we're not trying to light the world on fire. We're researching the drivetrain and the engine. We all know that the new Charger is going to have this engine in it, most likely with this transmission. So the more we can develop now means we're just going to be ready when that Charger platform. Imagine that Charger all-wheel drive, HP 75, and 2,000 pounds less in stock form, right? What? And then you throw a tune at it, right? So obviously that one being all-wheel drive is probably going to make, I bet you a high-output Charger on my dyno is going to make just shy of 500 wheel. I mark it now. It's probably going to be about 490 range, okay? So that means with a tune only, you're going to exceed 600 wheel horsepower in a Charger that's all-wheel drive. That weighs 2,000 pounds less than this truck. This is why we have it, okay? This is what we are building for. This is what we're getting ready for. We love seeing everybody else out there, you know, after it seemed like kind of around the same time we posted our videos up, and, you know, we saw, you know, AAD's coming out with some stuff. I can tell you Build Evolution's coming out with stuff, right? MMX is looking into it. Other shops went out and bought some too. This is great for the platform. We have to embrace it all together. The more diving into it, the better it all around is going to be. So this, I think, is going to be great. Now, yes, I can't wait, and I love to have the V8s come back. Trust me. at the same time, this is here to stay for a good while, and we are going to have a lot of fun with it, okay? So, yeah, I'm excited to see. Towing-wise, I haven't done any towing, Jeff. I am curious as well, since it says it can tow more than a TRX technically. I actually, for those that didn't know, 6 years ago, I had an F-150 with an EcoBoost. So I tuned that sucker, and I gained 120 horsepower and 150 foot-pounds of torque on that one. So it just shows the potential that it's there. So even with a tune, though, on my EcoBoost, I didn't make as much power as this did stock, just as a point of reference, okay? So, so these are the HP 75, Chris. So it still has the HP 75, not the 70. So it's the 75, one step above. So it, you know, on paper can handle upwards of 600 torque, 550, 600 torque in stock form. Once I get my tuning on it, I can exceed just around 700 foot-pounds of torque. So we are working on it, right, HP tuners? Yeah, we are trying, guys. So once we get the access to that, I do think from a stock perspective, you know, without changing hard parts, I do think that these trucks will be very reliable at about 650, 700 wheel horsepower and 650, 700 torque. I think they're going to get a lot of life. The components on it have been proven on a TRX. Obviously, the change of the engine and the transmission is where it's going to really be its weak link, right? So then, you know, what the question is, what do you do then? What if I want more than that? Okay, two options. Start with the TRX. I'm just being honest, right? It has the roof a lot easier to get to. The options are you can build the HP 75, send it to Sipple, have them build it. Those can handle upwards of 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, give or take, for a good while, and then we'll see what this motor can do. So yeah, I don't think 1,000 wheel horsepower and 1,000 torque is too far off in the future with these. I will be honest. I really do think it's right around the corner. Just knowing the technology and what they've developed in previous similar engine styles and seeing how this one's built, it's just asking for it. So I do know that 700 all day is going to be something we can do for any given time. And then, yeah, as soon as, you know, we can dive in a little more with the tuning, we're going to take it even up further. So, yes, as like somebody said, a single turbo, you're talking my language there. Let's see, what else we got? Damon, if you didn't see, this made 460 wheel horsepower, 460 torque bone stock, and I was able to do the pull in 5th gear, where on TRXs you only can do it in 4th gear. Red line is 6,100 RPM on these, and I made it just over 6,000 in 5th gear with the factory speed limiter. So that's what shut us down, but I was able, the horsepower started dropping, so we got the peak numbers. So, Thomas, if you're just jumping in, I will show the interior again. So, again, TV over on this side for your passenger, control your nav, your radio, stuff like that. There's a HDMI port, so if you want to get a gaming system on a long road trip, you can use that. I can't see it, obviously, from this side. Phone call, whoever's number that is, everybody has it. Taylor Swift on deck, you know my girls are here. All right, got the big old radio. Something I pointed out, again, was auto shut off. Got to be conscious that that's there. Can you see it? Heads up display. And then obviously your full customizable digital dash. So you can go through it. The one thing I pointed out, which is kind of odd, there is no boost gauge on your dash. Oh, my battery's low because it's been sitting here for a while. No boost gauge though. You have AFR, oil, temperatures, everything, no boost gauge. You have to go over to this screen and set it up to get that. Okay, so kind of odd there. One of the new features they added in, put the light on, dual charging ports too. So you can charge 2 wireless devices at any given time. Can throw your watch in there like I just did. Thank you, wifey, for the watch for Christmas. Armrest, basically the same thing as our big brother TRX. Glove box is the same. You know, steering wheel. This one does, one feature though, that this one has that freaked me out is it has that advertised no hands cruise control, right? So what I find funny about it is it yells at you to put your hands on it. They advertise you don't need hands, but it yelled at me when I took my hands off. It also vibrates the seat if you get out of line. So we were coming around a curve and no hands on it, and it took the curve and it started like bouncing me back and forth. So I do recommend to, use it for a quick second type thing, but it was kind of odd. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't like what you see with the fancy electric cars and everything like that. Yeah, Cody, it's I don't know what they're going to do for the HD. I have a feeling they probably will. It's kind of interesting to see since, these do make more than what the 6.4s do in the HDs and supposedly has more capability for towing, so with the added chassis. So we'll see what they do. But with Tim back, rumor is that the V8s are coming back, so I don't know if they're going to, although this makes more power, we don't know what they're going to be using for that. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. That this is rated at, like 8,500 pounds, give or take. So I would pull an open trailer all day long. Yeah, it does do Rich, it does do a self-drive. It's just kind of scary. Mine, I almost hit a truck. I'm not going to lie. It's yelling at me and all yellow and vibrating the seat because it just kind of like was swaying back and forth, and it almost bounced me off of a truck. So, open road, cruising straight, you have your hands on the wheel. It also has the alert for waking you up type thing, right? It yells at you and says, if it sees your eyes closing. So I was trying to take a little picture of the dash for the fuel economy, and it yelled at me. So it was pretty interesting to say the least. I was hoping to go do like a 0 to 60 hit for you guys, but it's raining outside. So all the haters are going to say I don't know how to drive and everything, and I should get perfect traction. Even though it's raining and like 40 degrees outside, since the internet knows how to drive these things much better than anybody. Somebody said their Passat was faster. Somebody said their 20-year-old Cummins was faster. It's just quite comical what the internet brings out in people. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, guys, again, I think this platform, this truck is going to be great. Are we going to see 2,000 horsepower out of a Hurricane? I don't think so, but that's not what it's about, right? That's why you still can build a, aluminum block V8 if you want to and explore. But I do think that this is great for 90% of the consumers. I really do. I mean, the power it makes, the delivery, the driving on it, for the most part, I'm not too upset about the fuel economy. It's a big truck. This is better than my EcoBoost was. I'll tell you that much. It's by light years ahead of what my EcoBoost was. So I'm really excited to see as they develop this. We already have a slew of parts Joe's hustling away in there that we are going to make. We already have a lineup of it, so we're excited for that as well. Oh, your Jeep did it too? Yeah, it didn't do a brake check. It just vibrated a lot. It was yelling at me. They're fast. I mean, it's hard to really understand it. I get it. You can defend it and say all you want. They don't sound the best. I totally get it. Some of these 6-cylinders, you just can't do anything. Now, are we going to stop and just accept it? No, we're going to see what we can do. I think they intentionally muffled this one down. I mean, you can see it on the intake. You can see it on the exhaust. They intentionally muffled it down. So I think with proper adjustments, it's still going to sound. There you go. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice, guys. It's nice. I'm very impressed so far. Do I miss my TRX? No, I don't. You know why? It went to a good home. Good customer friend. He's going to treat it right. We're still going to see it. So that's awesome to see. And the fact is, like I said, for 90% of the people out there, this is a great vehicle. It's more than what most people need in regards to delivery of power and capabilities. You know what I'm saying? So you can hate on no V8s all you want, but the fact is with technology, proper efficiency, world kicks in, you guys just wait. It's going to be a fun vehicle. So, so again, for those jumping in at the end of this was not one of our normal vlogs. This was a review of our new RHO. As you can see, I am driving it and beating the snot out of it. There's no, and Rich, just so you know, there's no actual custom tuning now. They're all piggyback systems. So that's where the race is on. Another race for our industry is to try and figure out who is going to unlock the capability first. And hopefully we're involved with that and can help out. But for right now in stock form and the little things that we're trying to adjust, it's going to be a very, very fun platform, guys. So, you know what? I want to say, I think that's a good one here, unless there's any other last minute questions while I say my last end of year hurrahs. So again, thank you everybody for everything. 2024 was a wild ride, ups and downs and lefts and right. I mean, big investments into what we're able to do and come out in the future. We couldn't do it without you guys, friends, family, allowing us to just continue on with the fight, the battle. And next year is just going to be even better. And we are looking forward to what we have coming. We got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. First announcement will be next week. So that we're really excited in collaboration with Billet Evolution. We have a new announcement next week. So when we come back on the 2nd, everybody look out for it. And yeah, I mean, just get ready for it. Single or twins for the WK2s. Turbos, yes. It just depends on your power goals and what you're looking for. Easiest, quickest way to get turbo boost is a Helium twin turbo kit because they come bolt-on ready. We can custom make one for you if you want, but the easiest way right now is going to be a Helium twin turbo kit, which will take you to the horsepower you want. So don't even worry about it. But yeah, 2025, guys, is going to be fun. Again, thank you everybody for this year. Year 6 in the books. On to year 7, and we got a lot coming for you. So everybody have a very safe New Year's. Have fun, enjoy your family, and we'll see you guys next year.